Speaking of bored as hell, Pete Davidson is apparently leaving SNL.
Yeah, and earlier today I saw that also Kate McKinnon
Is leaving
is
too?
expected. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, but I think that makes sense to me, especially because like people are split on like how they're interpreting like the Michael Shea comments, but I think he's correct when he was saying like with his idea of like toying with like leaving the show.
Wait,
The
what
concept
did
was like, oh,
Michael?
SNL. Michael Shea said in some stand-up special that he's been toying with like the idea of leaving SNL for the past couple of years.
Oh,
And
okay.
obviously he hasn't, but like he's like eventually, something more interesting should replace me and Colin Yost in the middle of at the end of the fucking night.
Uh-huh.
And he highlighted the idea that this is where I really agree with him on it is SNL is typically best when it has like younger voices kind of ordeal.
Right. Because
Like,
you
I do
have all
think
these
it
old
gets-
heads on there, and it's like, all right.
Yeah. And eventually I think, you get some new people on there. You get like some of the older people, and it's not like all of them are successful. All of them are there because they want to be, not because like their careers are so really attached to SNL at this point. Like Pete Davidson's done a shit ton of successful things. Shay's had a bunch of specials. He has his own TV show on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Kate McKinnon is killing it. Like all these people that are like slated, that are contemplating leaving, are leaving two careers. Like they're not leaving, and then that's like, oh, I just have to live off this SNL money. And
is
I think
Pete
it's just like,
Davidson
it opens up.
leaving to a career though?
He definitely is.
Yeah, Pete
sure.
Davidson is.
He's
He's
got
got a bunch. He's got stand-up specials that are good. He's written that King of Staten Island movie. Fucking did well.
it was a great
like-
movie too. He's got the A24 movie that looks great.
Yeah, he's also got plenty of money in a general
Yeah.
sense at this point.
because
like,
he's been
he's
living with
doing-
mom, so he's got money saved, and
He's gonna marry Kim Kardashian,
it's gonna be.
and he's gonna die
make-
young because Kanye is gonna lose his shit and just straight up murder him. So
Bro, you got tattoos of my kids
He'll
on
make
your
it.
neck, bro. I'm gonna beat the shit out
That
of
was very
Eric,
strange.
you really got to just like stop
I'm sorry.
slapping the fucking table
I wasn't
and like
slapping
cracking water bottles
I was-
while you're talking. Like
you. So sorry, I won't do it again.
it's like
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if the kids' tattoos were real. I think that was. I don't know. I don't know what that
Well,
was.
still,
Anyway.
I do think it's good for SNL because then you get like newer voices involved. Like you get new head writers, you get new the younger people getting more prominent roles, and that's great because you have a couple people that have been nailing it. Like,
I think you and I think I don't know if you were there with me, Jake, but like a lot of the stand-ups that we see are writers from SNL. Like all these Brooklyn stand-ups, a lot of them are writing for SNL, and I guess some of them are in hopes of like becoming part of the cast, but it always seems like the stand-ups that we like don't ever become a part of the cast because their thing is more
performing
stand-up.
isn't
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. Which
Like,
is
that's
unfortunate because then it ends up not being as fun.
No, a lot of people do like really good work as just writers. I think it fits. Like John Mulaney was just a writer. Larry David was a writer.
Mhm.
Conan O'Brien was a writer. Not like none of these people were like performers. They probably got on camera to do like a support bit every now and then, but
Right.
like they're all. I do think generally speaking, they do a good job of sorting like, oh, on camera, this person like doesn't fit like this sketch comedy kind of thing with how they perform. I think you got to consider those things, and it's not like people don't write for SNL and leave, like are just straight up staff writers for SNL who don't leave for great things too. Really, that's I think what Michael Shea was saying was just like SNL is brilliant for younger people to like start their careers basically,
Mhm.
to get them all like on the show in writing or in performing and whatnot, and
Because
sticking around forever is not like what you're supposed to do
because
because
you
it
can,
kind of stagnates.
it's also like
like-
if you're on SNL for the first 5 years of your career, you're not just on SNL. You're still doing like one or two movies here and there, and
Yeah,
kind of getting a gauge of what it'll be like when you leave. I think
yeah.
but you could also be like a Leslie Jones kind of situation where you kind of leave way too early, thinking that you're a lot bigger than the show, which was a weird move. I don't really know why she did that because she was great on the show. She could
Yeah.
have. I
Well,
mean,
there's a
I
lot
mean,
of
I'm sure there's a reason.
There's no guarantee that anyone succeeds at anything really. So it's like, yeah, she did great on SNL, but it doesn't mean that she inherently like translates to another field. Like
Right,
doing
but
good on SNL doesn't mean you're inherently good at anything else. Like, not to say that she isn't, but just to be like, there's a lot of also examples of people who don't crack and like do good things in SNL,
I
like
just
post SNL.
I think she got a taste of like Ghostbusters and was like, all right, well, this is gonna be it. And then that kind of, not that it flopped or not that the movie was bad, but the movie flopped money wise. And then there was just there was no nobody was looking to work with her right away after that. Not her specifically, but just, she's not a name that people know.
Has she been in anything
Yeah.
since Ghostbusters?
I don't think so.
Probably just not like something that we're immediately familiar with.
Yeah, maybe like
But,
a TV show
it's
spot or something.
It's also a fucking grind, SNL. So it's easy to be like, if it's hard to keep up with it, like every SNL memoir former performer or writer talks about how it's like, yeah, it's kind of miserable. Like you're like, people are like, oh, that sketch wasn't good. And it's like, yeah, well, we're fucking working all goddamn
5
week
days a week.
to do all this shit, get it
5
all
days
done,
a week,
and we have to write around the whims of a new host every goddamn week. Like,
yeah, 5 days a week, and then what is it on the weekend? It's like a 24-hour turnaround on those shorts,
essentially, yeah,
which is crazy.
Essentially,
they do those overnights. They're all overnights at like a house up in fucking Jersey or some shit, and then they have to shit it out by the end of the night, which is crazy because, I mean, they end up coming out great, like the shorts and coloring and editing. And I guess if they're not funny, it's like, damn, we just did all that and it was trash. But I can see how that's killer. But also I've heard stories where it's kind of like how WWE works, where the wrestlers will pretty much run after the writers so that they can get some TV time. And the same goes for SNL, where a lot of the cast members are kind of pitching ideas to the writers.
No, everyone's writing a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's any like pure just performance person on the show. I think it's just there's writers who that's their main gig. They're like and then there's the performers who are like split between. Because I don't think, like, Michael Shea obviously writes, Colin Yost writes, like they all do some level of writing. It's just whether or not that's the only thing they're doing.
But I do think there's a lot of like clicks could be a problem behind the scenes if you're closer with this writer, they're more likely to listen to your ideas. I'm not saying it's cutthroat, but I can see how it can be tough.
At the end of the day, Lauren chooses everything. Like, they do a pre-run on Friday or maybe earlier that on Saturday of like pretty much all the sketches.
Yeah.
Not that all like get pitched, but all that like make first cut.
Mm-hmm.
And then they cut harder from that point. Like, Lauren watches all of them and just gauges which he thinks did the best. Like,
don't they do a show right before SNL too? They do like they have an audience there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the thing I'm talking about is they do a pre-tape, well, not even a tape. They just do like a pre-run that's longer and has more of the sketches. And then they cut it down for like the real show from that point even.
I wouldn't be
surprised. Like, I don't think you can pitch whatever the hell you want. And at the end of the day, you have to sell like the whole room. It's not like writers choose. There are people who have like more influence than others. Like, obviously head writers are going to have a large influence, but I think based on how everyone seems to talk about it, Lorne Michaels at the end of the day is like the guy who decides really, like during that pre-run kind of pre-roll kind of shit where it's like, yeah, that didn't really sell, or I don't really understand that one. I don't think it's going to do well. And then, yeah, clicks probably happen, but I don't think they're as like devastating as
I wonder what
as like you'd think.
I wonder what happens when he bounces. Like, who does it go to? Who's in charge? Does it change? Does the show change?
There's probably some like older. I would bet like an older head writer or something like that might take that spot who has production like experience as a producer. Like someone wants it, and they've probably because he's older, so some people he's probably talked about it, and there's probably like a concept or a plan behind it. But I don't know. I think going back to the original point, all these people leaving, as much as people are going to be like, oh, look at all they're losing all this talent. I think it's kind of perfect timing in that like you have these younger cast members that are starting to like become bigger, like Bo and Yang and Sarah Sherman and stuff like that. They'll get them more screen time, more ability to like put their voice on shit. And I think, you know, people haven't been like high on SNL for the past couple of years. I do think, and I feel like that's always the case where it's just like,
I think every conversation anyone ever has
in the moment.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, in the moment, you're always kind of like, it's not as good as it used to be. But then like years pass and you're just like, oh, actually, that wasn't that bad. Like,
right.
But it is just because they have to fill so much time. So half the show is almost guaranteed to be like, whatever. Like, because they're just fucking filling time at a certain point. But I do think it's like good time to get the younger, more different voices and give them more room to do their thing. Like reiterating Bo and Yang, Sarah Sherman.
There'll come a time when like Pete Davidson hosts the show and everyone's hyped to watch it because he's hosting.
That'd be kind of cool.
Sorry, I think we talked about that a lot, but yeah, I think I don't know about Kate anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But
Kyle Mooney's leaving too, but
there was a bigger list, but I think
Oh, is it? Damn. Oh, it just got trampled by Pete Davidson being the guy.
No, I think it just came out after Pete Davidson.
I was never a fan of Kyle Mooney. I don't even know why I mean, no offense to him. I just never found him funny on the show. But I think he was one of the writers prior to being on camera, I think.
Maybe, yeah. I'm not entirely familiar with it. I'm not too familiar with him either, so it's hard for me to.
Yeah, but he was one of them who made a joke.